for citrus growers, almost 8-1 in the Sunshine State. Florida's Department.
Well, good morning everyone. This morning we're kind of looking over everything, really looking at the sections and guards of these headers, because here in about 2 more fields we're most likely going to be done with wheat harvest, and we're going to be getting everything ready for soybean and corn harvest. The guards and the sections and everything on all 3 headers are good enough to cut wheat, but not enough to cut soybeans, if that makes sense. So I don't know, we're kind of looking at everything over and seeing kind of what we need to do. So you can see this little notch right here on the guard. That's a good indicator that your guard is pretty wore. And wheat, that would be just fine, you know, you can keep on running it, but soybeans, I feel like it's gonna plug up a good bit. Sections are also pretty wore. You can always tell that the back side of the section right here that doesn't really cut anything at all. That's what it's supposed to look like right there. That's what it looks like right now. So pretty good wear amount right there. And you can also look at the leading edge of the guard. If it's really smooth, then it's also wore out as well, which it is. It's really smooth. I guess you can look in the front of the guard right here where the section doesn't run. It's super sharp, has a jagged edge on it. Right here is really rounded off. So in theory, pretty much, you're gonna need new guards, new sections, which is $10,000 for all 3 headers. So that's kind of what we're looking at this morning. Cody and Jesse are pumping fuel. Tatum is blowing off the combine with his lab coat and his mask on. Look at him go. What a legend. Anyways, we're gonna get serviced up real quick, and we have to immediately move fields this morning because we finished up this one last night. And the next field is pretty treacherous. It is straight up and straight down and straight sideways all through the field. Like, it has a bunch of gnarly hills and ditches in it, so that's gonna be fun. Do y'all remember like a month ago whenever this grain cart was brand new and it was so clean? Now you can't even tell like what cart it is. Under that says 1198. Over here says Brent. You can barely read that. Dang, this thing needs a bath. Like bad. It's full. What do you mean?
What is this?
Grasshoppers?
No way.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yes, compacted grasshoppers. It happens. You know, surprisingly, the paint hasn't really wore that much. This coating stuff down here wasn't ever painted. That looked just like that. But, like right here, like that's a little bit wore. But that's really about it in here. If anyone ever wondered what the inside of a grain cart looked like, here you go. It has these grates down here that you can walk, so you can service in here or whatever. It has these gates right here that open and close. This little tunnel right here is one big long auger that brings it this way. Then it goes up this one and then dumps into the truck. But whenever you open your gate, let's say you open it like to number 4, it opens it up like 40%, so not quite halfway. And then the grain just falls down in there. That's also what this rod right here is. And then it has a cylinder right here. That's what controls your gate. That run's firing up like they're all ready. Oh wait, maybe they're doing roller bearings.
Yeah, we gotta grease those. Gotta make sure those are intact.
Yeah, I don't want to catch the wheat field on fire or anything.
That'd be bad.
Could you imagine if that happened? Like my combine's on fire. You just gonna stand on the steps and do that top one?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And it may, because it's brand new. I just put it in the computer, and Hayden hasn't joined, so it may change, and that's fine if it does. We'll just join back.
Okay, I'm running behind. I got to change fields, clear out my dailies, clear out my totals, and then we should be able to move fields. I like to do this before we get to the field. That way, you know, I'm not sitting in the middle of the county road typing in stuff on my computer, holding up the road, so.
My combine didn't get full again.
Alrighty, well, let's move fields, I guess. That field went by extremely quick. I was not expecting it to get by that fast, but this was only 150 acres, so I guess 3 combines, 150 acres, it shouldn't last that long. We are currently gonna get ready to go to the next field, if I can make it up this hill.
Right here, get straight.
Oh gosh, come on, barely wants to make it up that one. And my notepad's about to fly off my chair. So the next field that we have to go to is that one right there that my finger's on. And that one is a mile-long row, but it's super skinny. I don't know how many acres are in it, but that's where we're going next. Opening up the field like this close to some grass really makes me nervous, because especially here in North Dakota, everyone like throws their rocks like that far away from where they planted. So I'm always like white knuckling it, trying to open it up a field. I also kind of really need to be in flex. I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not, but the wings kind of need to droop down a little bit to get all the wheat. But I think it's just for a little ways. I think up here it kind of fixes itself and gets flat again. Way up on that corner way over there, it looks like there's a bunch of grass. You can see some grass spots right there and right here. Also, if you kind of enjoy this sort of POV style right here, I actually have an entire video that I did for my members only. So if you're interested in that, y'all should definitely go check that out. To be a member, you can go and hit the join button right next to the subscribe button. And you can choose what kind of tier you want. If you do the middle tier, it unlocks that video, along with a bunch of other videos that you can unlock. I think one time I made potatoes and stuff like that in the camper. So if you're ever interested in those type of videos, like more of behind the scenes in the camper, or how I film videos like this, you can always drop down, hit the join button, and become a member. So I'm super grateful for everyone that signs up. It really does mean a lot to me. I wonder what the backstory is on this pickup that's sitting right here on the turn rail. I bet that thing was pretty sweet back in the day. Kind of looks like it was used for target practice on the windshield though. Got a couple bullet holes in it. I ran out of spoons. Dang
last on that thing, eh?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 passes to the right, and then we're going to be done, possibly for 2025 wheat harvest. I feel like I haven't talked to the camera much today. I've really been like soaking in all of it so far, so I don't want it to end. I don't know, it's a feeling that is really hard to explain. But all we got to do is go down the field this way and then back up to the trucks, and that could possibly be it. I'm going to be really excited if Dad gets on the radio and says that there's one more, but I don't know. He said it could be a possibility that this right here is the last of it. So we're going to treat it like it's the last of it. Well, as of right now, that is completely it.
You're gonna have to unload on Jesse before I could even unload on him. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, grab your tissues, grab your Kleenexes. It is official. This is the last field of wheat that we have for 2025. We got one more field. It is the next day. We couldn't get a hold of the farmer yesterday, so we kind of just went in, and we eventually got a hold of him, and he said, yes, do one more field for us. So that's what we're gonna go do. But right now we're cutting a sample because it was straight fog driving over here this morning. Like, I'm serious, you could barely see the hood of your pickup. There was so much fog, and it finally cleared off, so we're gonna go see what the moisture is, I guess. Well, the last field of wheat certainly isn't the easiest, I would say. It is filled with grass. I don't know what kind of grass that is. It doesn't affect this header too much, but Mom's and Tatum's has been plugging up pretty good. But we have 88 acres left of wheat harvest. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sad. Makes me want to just slow down and like barely cut today just to make it last. Although we do have a lot of stuff to do, so I guess I'm not gonna do that. We do have like several days of mechanicking and stuff like that. The other day, whenever Mom's tire almost fell off, well, I guess it kind of did fall off. It broke a couple of bolts out of her duals. So whenever we get done here, we're gonna road the combines back to the original farmer's shop. Back to the shop where we fixed the roller on my header whenever my header caught on fire. We're gonna wheel it in that shop, and we're gonna attempt to dig all of the bolts out of, you know, I guess the final drive is where it's broken off at. So we're gonna try to get that situated, I guess, on top of like several other things that we have to fix to get ready for soybean and corn harvest. Like we have to swap the concaves out and all sorts of other stuff. But if you have been watching for the past year, all the way from the start in South Texas and cutting wheat all the way up through North America to now North Dakota, y'all should comment down below what is y'all's favorite video or even favorite part of wheat harvest so far this year. This is officially the last pass for wheat harvest of 2025. Mom's in front of me, also taking her last pass. And Tatum is over there on the right, also taking his last pass. Well, I'm sad. Sad and happy at the same time, actually. It is going to be good to have a little bit of a change, though. We gotta get into some corn mode though. I think we normally start with corn whenever we go to Nebraska. And then I guess sometime whenever we get like a quarter of the way done with corn, then we'll like switch to soybeans. And then sometimes we'll pull off of soybeans and go back to corn and then back to soybeans. I don't know. It's kind of a mess really sometimes, but that'll be a good change. Well, we're all finished up. We got the header pulled off. We're getting ready to leave. Although most of y'all, whenever y'all were doing custom harvesting in the 60s and 70s and 80s, this did not pertain to y'all. So currently right now I have a flash drive shoved in the combine and I'm exporting all of the data that the combines have gathered while harvesting this farmer's crop. And we're gonna give that data back to that farmer. That way he has yield maps, and in the future he can go back and look at every single year and how each field yielded. They can also do like precision fertilizer and like different rates through the planter. You know, if a spot doesn't do good over time, then it does, you know, less population. But if a spot out in the field does really good over time, then they can plant more population. So kind of stuff like that. Although I am not an expert in that area whatsoever, all I do is shove a flash drive in these combines and give them the data, and that's everything that I do. So anything above that is above my pay grade. Well, we got the combines pulled to the farmer's yard, and I have blown off my combine, so that one's pretty good. It's not the best, but it's the best that's going to happen in a timely manner before it goes dark. Tatum is starting on Mom's combine, and then we also have his as well, so I don't know, we're kind of falling behind here. I highly recommend safety glasses during this procedure. My eyeballs are killing me. We have them somewhere, but I couldn't find them, so I just said screw it and just had my safety squints on while I was blowing off the combine. I'm not too sure if we're gonna be washing the combines. They are kind of nasty, like this hard dirt right here won't blow off, or on the shields or anywhere else, rims, tires, auger. But we kind of got all the doors opened up and trying to clean these things really good before we head back south. Anyways, we're gonna spend the rest of the day cleaning up these combines, and I might go open up the traps on the grain cart to empty out all the wheat seed as well. Well, I didn't get to record it because I don't have a tripod to set y'all up, but you take this pin out and then this kind of like cams over these springs under here, and this whole like black piece comes flopping down and lets all the grain out of the middle augers. So I did that, and I also got under there and like shimmied my way all the way, you know, to the front of the cart and raked all the wheat seed out the best that I could. You know, I mean, there's still gonna be some in there that I can't reach, you know, but for the most part it's all out. And then we also opened up this inspection door right here, and that wheat fell out. So if y'all want to look on how many, I don't know how many pounds this cart has augered out, I guess, but here's the wear on the auger so far. Not much. There's definitely some like spiral grooves in here that you can see, so it is wearing. But yeah, the auger still has paint on it. That one in there still has paint on it. I can't get all of that wheat, but here, I'll put y'all in here. That's what that looks like. Pretty cool, huh? That auger kind of brings it this way, dumps into here. This auger brings it up, and then into a truck. Well, since it is officially the end of the wheat harvest run, I figured I should give y'all a couple of stats for this year. Now, I'm not gonna show y'all acres, just because other harvest crews are very competitive in that area, and yeah, so I don't wanna start anything. So we're gonna skip over acres. It is roughly 50% more than what we did last year, which it should be since you added another combine. If you want to know what the average bushel an acre all the way from South Texas all the way to North Dakota is, I'll give y'all a couple of seconds to guess. What do y'all think this year's average for wheat is? If you said 47, you will be correct. If you said anywhere close to that, then you know you're close enough. If you have a bunch of irrigated, it's going to be higher, but that's just what we did. On average, it was 47 bushel an acre. Our average speed for cutting wheat is 4 miles an hour. On average, we do 17.9 acres an hour with our 770s. We also get 0.9 gallons an acre with our combines. I'm really curious if someone will share. I might actually get the farmer to share how much gallons an acre that their combines burn, since they are 790s versus ours. That is pretty typical. With these 770s, we get 0.9 gallons an acre, which comes out to be 15.9 gallons an hour. And we also did just a little bit over 53 million pounds of wheat, and that is just our operation. That's not counting, you know, everyone else in the United States. That is a lot of wheat. That is one thing that I love about Op Center. It puts all of this together. And yeah, it's really cool. But anyways, guys, that is officially it for 2025 wheat harvest. If you stuck around all season long, I want to thank you very much for doing that. But don't go anywhere, because we are starting fall harvest here in a couple of videos. The next video after that is going to be move day to South Central Nebraska from North Dakota. Then after that, we're going to have the first day of fall harvest doing corn in 2025. So if you're interested in that, stick around, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. But anyways, guys, I do think that's going to be it for today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you on the next one.